once you begin to understand what the real issue is, okay, what people are really experiencing, the reason why people are fatigued, why they have a hard time falling asleep, what they're experiencing brain fog, why, the reason why, their hair is thinning, falling off, why they're experiencing depression, anxiety. All of these issues have to do with gut related issues. And so a lot of the confusion happens because once you understand what's happening in your gut, you're going to understand why, people, depending on what phase they're on with, my programs, or like even myself, like the diet that I am currently on right now, this isn't where I started. Okay. This is not like a place for you to start. And so I want to hopefully give you some clarity on that so that you can see why sometimes it can be confusing for people to, they see what I'm doing and they try to emulate everything as I'm doing it at the moment, but they've missed certain steps. And that's exactly what I'm going to be talking about here with Ina. Um, so first thing, and, I think that it's important to clarify this. Um, Whenever I do these, these deep dives into people's diets where I break them down, it's important to understand where the person is at and what their goal is. What are they trying to accomplish? The reason why I mentioned that is because even though I started my group, for people with thyroid conditions, I've been getting a lot of people who have different types of autoimmune conditions or other things that, I may not have experienced directly, but there's a lot of overlap, right? Some people will have like PCOS, fibromyalgia, vitiligo, and there's like a whole range of these autoimmune conditions. They're all like essentially overlapping. They all kind of like stem from the same root cause. And so I want to break down more or less what the journey looks like, and what is it that I do different now. And I know this is, for you specifically right now, for anyone who's getting started, there's a timeline, right? So like the first 30 days or so, you're going to essentially be focusing on hydration, vitamin D, and mitochondria function. Okay, this is literally like the recipe to get energy. Okay, anyone that wants energy, like this is literally what you have to do, right? And if you want me to walk you through it, you can always reach out to me and I'll, give you a personalized, custom plan on how to do this. But essentially, this is what you do to begin. And this phase right here is essentially what I call the strengthening phase. Okay, this is where you learn to build strength, where you learn to just boost your immune system and help your body recover. Okay, and the reason why that is important is because the next phase, which is basically where Ina is at, this is about detoxing. Okay, and when you start to detox, what happens is that detoxing is almost like taking a step backwards. Okay, detoxing is going to expose you to a lot of the same toxicity that you may be trying to get away from. And so what happens is that during the first phase, you start to feel better, but then during the second phase, when you have to detox, you're going to expose your body to toxins that are going to drain your energy, right? And so you have to become intuitive because you have to learn, when you're overdoing detoxing, you have to take a step back and go back to hydrating, boosting your vitamin D, and boosting your mitochondria, right? And so essentially how it looks like is if we were to graph this and you start out with your energy levels, let's say these are your energy levels, and your toxic levels are over here. What happens is during the first 30 days or so, as you're hydrating and boosting your vitamin D, your energy levels are going to start to rise. and you're going to get to a point where you're going to start to detoxify. And so your toxic levels are going to basically start to go down. And you want to get to a point where your energy overtakes your level of toxicity, because that's when you hit recovery. That's basically one of the things that I talk about, that I call the compound effect, where at first it just feels like nothing's happening, right? You may get a little couple spurts of energy here and there, but it's like nothing happens. Once you get to this point where your levels of energy overtake your toxic levels, the feeling that you get, the energy that you get out of it is exponential. Okay. And it just like flips, right? And this is basically what I want to get, people to experience. So going back from that, clear this up a little bit. All right. So talking about her diet. So here's the deal. Once you get to this point, what you want to do is, everything that we're talking about here is basically related to gut health. Understand that your gut health, okay, 80% of your immune system is your gut health. So what that means is that it depends on your good gut flora, which is the same thing as saying your probiotics. Whatever lives in your gut, the more good bacteria that you have in your gut, the stronger your immune system. Poor gut health is basically bad bacteria in your gut. And when I say bad bacteria, I'm putting this, I'm under the umbrella of bacteria. I'm basically referring to things like yeast overgrowth, like yeast candida, yeast albicans, parasites. There's mold. All of this, the reason why it's bad is because it releases toxic waste. Okay, and all that toxic waste, what happens is that it first clogs up your liver. Okay, once your liver gets clogged up, then it goes after your lymph system, which is basically your entire skin. And when that gets clogged, that's when you begin to accumulate toxicity. That's when you begin to accumulate body fat, right? So like I gained about 34 pounds in a matter of, like a couple of months. Like I remember I went from like size, 32, size 32 jeans. And then soon after, like literally like a couple of weeks after, I had to buy a brand new set of wardrobe, went to size 34. And then weeks later, my belly started to hang over, my belly. It was like the first time that I've ever seen something like that. And I was just gaining weight nonstop. And I remember it was crazy because I was like just literally eating like salads and trying to like be as healthy as possible. But no matter what I did, I was just gaining weight. And this is basically what is happening. Now, the reason why I want to point this out is because right now, the biggest improvement that I can see that we can make here is, in order to get rid of this, we have to basically learn to adapt our bodies to burn fat, good healthy fat, and use that as a source of fuel as opposed to sugar. Okay, and the reason is because any type of sugar is going to feed the mold, yeast, bad bacteria, and parasites. And this is one area of confusion, because some people may hear that, for example, like currently I eat fruit like oranges, berries, and so people hear like, oh, well, you eat fruits or you eat sugar, like it's okay for me to eat some. But what people don't understand is that I did about close to 6 months of a plant-based ketogenic diet with absolutely no sugar. And I also did a gut cleanse to get rid of mold, yeast, bad bacteria, and parasites. And so the reason why I'm able to eat fruit again and eat sugar is because my gut flora has changed. I've restructured my gut flora. So here, what I see is that, for breakfast, there's, this turmeric latte. So there's collagen powder, ghee butter. So far, so good, because this is all fat, good healthy fat. Pretend almond milk, which is okay. Probiotic capsules, diatomaceous earth, and MSM powder. Now, this is fine because this is practically a ketogenic type of drink. Now, I wish I knew exactly what time this was being, taking at, but I'm going to give you some tips here on how to go about improving this. The biggest thing is that 11 a.m. here we have a green juice drink, which from most people will look at this and say, okay, orange, 2 limes, a capsule. Well, I think she meant to write a scoop of our Organifi powder, which is a green juice powder, banana, aloe vera juice shot. So the biggest thing, if someone is at this stage where you haven't done a gut detox and restructure your gut flora, which, by the way, that's phase 3. This is not what you do at this point. At this point, what you want to do is you want to begin to create an environment in your gut so that you can grow good probiotics and begin to detoxify your liver, and basically what I call your filters, the filters of your body. So during this stage, after your 30 days of hydration, we go into phase 2. And phase 2 is all about learning how to adapt to using fat as a source of fuel and essentially cutting out sugar from your diet. And this is a challenge for a lot of people. It was a challenge for me. The thought of cutting out sugar was really hard. But as you're going to see, this is not really as hard as it seems. And so I'm going to give you a couple of tips, okay? Because both here, orange and banana, even though, like I said, they may be good and you'll be able to eat them. Like, for example, right now with where I'm at, having done, these detoxes and having researched my gut flora, I'll be able to follow this diet exactly and I'll be perfectly fine. But in, Ina, in your case, because we haven't gone through a gut restructure, what I would do is basically remove the orange and the banana out of this. Now, some of you may be watching this and thinking like, I don't know if I could do that because the taste, you may think that you may not be able to do the taste of this, but here's what I want you to understand. When you're born, you come out of this, a seed, right? Call this a sperm, which, basically splits, and that splits, and there's your nervous system where this becomes your head, and this is your gut, right? So here's your body, right, as we're looking at it. So this is basically your gut flora is essentially connected through your nervous system up until, to your head, your brain, and your taste buds are essentially connected to your gut. And I will tell you that your gut, depending on what lives in your gut, your taste buds change. So the reason why it's hard for people to cut out sugar from their diet is because of what lives in their gut, right? This is what craves sugar right here. And so the more that you clean up your gut, the less sugar cravings you're going to get and the less need for sweets you're going to see in your diet. So one way that you can do this is if you try cutting it out and you're like, I can't do it, like I can't do the taste, one thing you can do is cut this in half, right? Do half orange and do half a banana and try it out for a week. And then maybe you can do a quarter, and and then you can keep going that way until maybe you remove completely the banana off and leave a quarter of the orange, and then you just get to a point where you can just drink the green juice straight up. I just usually just drink the green juice straight up. And another thing that you can do, instead of doing like a full glass, you can mix a scoop and just like a small little glass and take it as a shot, right? And just kind of like get it over with. Um, because what this is essentially doing is it's no longer feeding that bad bacteria, and it's essentially creating a clean environment in your gut. And the reason why you want to do that is because the more that you feed your bad bacteria, that's going to essentially release toxicity all over your body. And the phase that you're on right now, Ina, is essentially clearing out your liver. So phase two, for those of you